Nigeria has the potential to remain the giant of Africa. We've made strides, but there's also been challenges. How would you react to that?
Well, man made money. Bees make honey. So one of them is doing the job of God, which are the bees. We started well as the nation started 1960. Got its Republican status in 1963. And in 1960, the Queen of Nigeria was also the Queen of the United Kingdom. And we were granted independence. The Republic came because we were given our sovereignty out of the Commonwealth, because we were in the Commonwealth where the Queen was also the head of the Commonwealth. The past leaders, they actually encouraged growth in all areas, including education, agri, industrialization, and even technical education that can hasten our industrialization and evolution into a proper nation and a proper giant of Africa. We are giant because so many nationalities make up Nigeria.
So many nationalities make up Nigeria.
We have the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Benin Kingdom, the Kanem Borno Kingdom and the people there, the Kanuris, the Nupe, the Biroms, the Hausas and the Fulanis. The amalgamation was with the South, the Northern Protectorate, Southern Protectorate, and the colony. There were three. Lagos happens to be the colony. Lagos provides the money, and the British knew that the South has better revenue, better upstarts than the Northern Protectorates. So they put us together so that they too can evolve and we can all move together. And we have moved together truly. I could see the reactions of people in the conversations in the past were very decent. But today, we have shifted into what must not have come. We have left citizenship. We are now dwelling around tribalism and religion. Those are things I have no fancy for. I have no fancy for them.
You know, you started...
And it has affected not only governance, it has affected the quality of leadership that now manage the country, both at the state and the local level.
Before we talk about the quality of leadership, you started by saying man makes money, honey makes bees. That was quite striking. Talking about money, as at the time of independence, you just took us down memory lane, and I appreciate that. Just shortly after independence, it was 1 naira to £1, and it was 1 naira to $2.
Yeah, about that.
About that, fast forward to 2024.
We lost so much. From '83, we started losing. We lost Nigerian Airways. We lost Nigerian Telecoms. Telecom still runs in Ghana. They are not total. It's not total reliance on this mobile. They still run their telex, their telegram, and when the railways were functional, all the tracks are still there. I don't know why the government, after government, did not see the need to bring those tracks back, start up some factories that will fabricate some of the tools needed to bring the coaches, to bring the train back on their tracks. We rather went for a loan, 20 years. A nation that goes for a railway contract, a contract loan for 20 years, is a blind nation. Because number one, railway services, to have them, they are very, very expensive. And to pay back, it has to be about between 35 and 40 years. How Nigeria arranged with China for 20 years, I can't understand. And we did not even bring the right coaches. We brought only luxury coaches. We need coaches that could move goods, services, move containers, move. We need to re-engineer so much to bring our people happiness, job opportunities, tourism too. It's not a bad idea, but we have done so many hills to our own country.
So you talked about the quality of leadership. It begs the question, right? How has Nigeria's political landscape evolved since independence? And what impact, has this had on governance and citizen participation?
We define leadership as people with desire and energy to lay down, to turn around, to lead, to consider, to restrain, and to exceed, and many more. We saw this amongst the first stage of leadership. Awolowo, Azikiwe, Amadu Bello. We saw it even in the states. Jakonde, Olusegun Oshoba, Ajasin. If you go to the north,
Tafawa Balewa.
No, this man in Kano, Rimi. We have Solomon La. We have Taka. We have so many leaders. Gowon was 31 years old when he became head of state. And you could see the gentleness in his face, that he's not somebody that is greedy. But when you now look at the leaders of the past and bring them against the ones we have today, you will be ashamed of yourself. Leaders of today, they have whetted materialistic appetites. And once they have this whetted materialistic appetite, they can never drive any reform. Today, we have very big governments. We have lost virtually all our industries. And we are still not reducing government to be able to cope with a balanced budget. A balanced budget is whatever we will manage our money in a manner that the little we have, we should not go borrowing. But when they borrow, the money disappears.
So you're saying cost of governance is a key challenge?
Yes.
And that must be addressed?
It must be addressed immediately, because I want to go into Tinubu's economic reform.
Please.
When Tinubu took power, he removed the subsidy. He floated the naira. Let us assume that those two policies were good.
And they happened at the same time.
Assuming that those policies were were handled very well. And how do you handle a policy like that? When you remove subsidy, you are going to get more income, more revenue, because you are not responsible to the people anymore, either in education, even petrol pump price. So what will you do with this money? That is the question that Tinubu should have asked himself. But rather than, he took to public sector reform rather than private sector reform. And when you are putting money into the public sector reform, you must be mindful of the amount of corruption that is involved and the bureaucracy that is involved in the public sector area. Now, when you stifle private sector and you give money to the public sector, what are they doing with the money? They are buying dollars. And at the same time, you find the state, the federal, local government all going to the capital market to borrow money. So who will borrow? The private sector. That is the big challenge we have in the country. If the president can make a reverse, a quick reverse, because it may be too late in 6 months, the economy has collapsed.
Really?
Yes, it has. Because when companies can no longer plan, manpower are leaving companies because of poor salaries, and the exchange rate is not even allowing industries to buy their raw materials. They don't know what the exchange rate will be tomorrow. So nobody can plan in this economy now. No matter, there is nothing the president can do about it. He has lost it.
But
because number one,
he said he can do a U-turn. You said he can do a U-turn.
Yes, he can do a U-turn, but that U-turn has to come with discipline.
Okay.
That means he has to. The government must cut its whetted materialistic appetite. It must cut down on the cost of governance. It must put a budget on ground that will not allow him to borrow. That means whatever is available is what they will use for specific projects. All ministries are expected to drive productivity and efficiency. That should be the focus. It is not politics. It is not political trick. It is not to bring all sorts of people into government and nothing is achieved. And that is what we have at present.
What we've done is actually to transition from the introduction reflecting on Nigerians at 64 to making recommendations. That's what you're doing already.
Yes.
So you said focus on cutting down cost of governance.
Yep.
Focus on discipline. How about diversification of the economy? Once upon a time, the agricultural sector used to be very vibrant.
The groundnut pyramid.
The groundnut pyramid.
The palm kernel from the east and the south and the south. The cocoa from the north. Those were the things they used in building cocoa as industrialization. And now we have the oil. So NNPC is owing $6 billion outside the shore.
Okay. So is it a cost now or a blessing?
When your refineries are destroyed, 4 refineries gone with the winds, what is left? All the previous industries are all gone. Factories are shutting down their machines.
The Port Harcourt refinery, they are working, I think this is for the 7th time they've tried to bring it back to life. It has not happened, but our fingers are crossed. It might happen this year.
Corruption is the pivot that is turning everything in Nigeria today. If there is a government that can fight corruption, that is why I said, if Tinubu can make a U-turn, drive the process of its own reform, cut down governance, make away with material things, do your budget in a manner that it will be a budget of productivity. We are concerned because it is affecting 240 million people.
Yeah, so let me ask this question then. Would you recommend diversification of the economy? And if yes, what sectors, right, is the most promising for future growth?
If we are advising a good government, it will be a thankful task. But
Okay.
we are advising Tinubu's presidency that believes more in their own propaganda than listening to other people. I'm sorry, that is the way it is.
So you call it propaganda and not governance?
Of course. We all went to the university. We all have entrepreneurship experiences. So I'm seated here. We have made qualified statements on the type of reforms and how Nigerians are being crushed with these same reforms. We are going to be beggars till 2027.
I'm hoping that statement is not true.
No, there is nothing again in Nigeria.
Oh, but there is.
They are just painting those pictures for you. There is nothing again in Nigeria. The economy has collapsed. He can't get it going until he has a very strong reform, and that strong reform must come from his own mind to become disciplined.
What do you say about a cabinet reshuffle then?
Who is Tinubu bringing that is going to tell him the truth? When a leader assembles those that will say yes, then we are all in trouble. The National Assembly could not even call the president to explain his policies, economic policies, not even the House of Reps, not even the Federal Executive Council, not even the political party. They had manifestos.
Well, the president of the Senate had said once upon a time that the president is our father, so they must support him in all he does, right?
Akpabio has a way of saying so many things, you know. We are leaders. What is important in this country is how to drive our growth, how to bring happiness to our people. If not so, this government will be faced with protest after protest after protest. There is no way they are going to be ruling in peace
And
if they don't change their pattern of governance.
And that would be very unfortunate. Now,
very, very unfortunate.
You talked about the population of Nigeria earlier on, over 200 million, right?
Yep.
rich in diversity, which begs the question, right? How does Nigeria's cultural diversity contribute to its national identity? And what challenges does this diversity present in terms of unity and social consensus?
We had very strong diversity many decades ago. But you see, when there are wrong leaders here and there, without ideas, they will provoke ethnic sentiments. Some of the Nigerians will become tribal warriors rather than remaining as citizens. And the beneficiary of these conflicts are usually the political class. They will start off separatist movements just anyhow, like the Yoruba nation. It's just an anyhow whatever.
No, it's anyhow. You're talking about the movement led by Sunday Igboho?
Of course.
It's anyhow?
Of course.
You're not in support?
Of course. Of course. I'm a true citizen of this country.
Nigeria must be one?
What is uppermost in our mind, in our leadership forum, is the interest of Nigeria and Nigeria alone. Anything that will affect Nigeria will not only be ignored, it will also be rejected. That is our position. So, because now, what are the problems of ethnic nationalities? Before, you don't see Nigerians quarreling with themselves, with each other abroad. They are doing so now. So what could have happened? We know the story. Those who took oath of office equally were equally divisive.
All right.
It's unfortunate.
It is. So what I hear you say now is you don't support secession.
I do not support any separatist movements out of this country.
All right now. If you just joined us, the show is The Breakfast Cafe, and I have with me here Akin Malaolu. He is a leader, Yoruba Ronu Leadership Forum, and we've been reflecting on Nigeria at 64. And I have lots of questions for you, right? What are the most pressing infrastructure needs in Nigeria today? I have another question as a follow-up, but what do you think is the most pressing?
The best way to give growth to the Nigerian people is to look at the meaning of economic growth. What is economic growth? Economic growth means the measurement of variables. And when you measure the variables, I'll give you an instance. Education is an infrastructure. And it's equally an economic variable. Let us now look at the policy of President Tinubu to education. Are people going into schools or they are dropping out of schools? If you do the measurement, people are dropping out of schools. So we are losing at that area. And whatever affects education will equally affect other variables, because all these variables must go together.
Okay.
Good roads.
Yeah.
There should be no energy threats. There should be no unemployment threats. There should be stable macroeconomic variables. There should be discipline in all areas. All institutions must be very strong. The FCC must curb corruption, fight it frontally. But some of these things are difficult because the drivers of most of these reforms are stooges of various leaders.
That's the can of worms you just opened. But under 1 minute, as we wrap this up, it is not all gloom and doom in Nigeria, right? We've marked 25 years of uninterrupted democracy. Does that excite you in any way? You have less than a minute to answer that question.
The government of the people that started in 1999 has not improved the quality of life, has not given jobs to the people. It has taken away so many things. The political class are the only beneficiary of democracy and not the people of Nigeria.
So what are you saying?
Political class should make a U-turn and look at the people, look at the conditions of things amongst our people, and look for how to ameliorate those conditions so that the people can have happiness, so that the people can breathe.
In other words, you agree with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who says Afro-democracy is what we need.
It can come in any form.
All right. This is a safe place to land. We'll probably have to bring you back for more of this conversation, but we do appreciate you coming.
Bring me back again.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right. I have been speaking with Akin Malaolu, and today we reflected on Nigeria at 64. Nigeria, 64 years after independence from colonial rule. We'll wrap it up and take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.